to introduce everyone to Carol. I'll let Carol introduce herself and let you guys know a little bit about her. But just like as always, this is being recorded and will be sent out. You rewatch it, share it with anyone. Please, let's be interactive. So we're we'll give you everything we can, but we hope that you guys, if you have questions or comments or goods or bads, anything, please unmute yourself or throw it in chat as always. So, but otherwise today we're just going to be, just kind of talking about, essentially standing out in your market. So before we kind of get started in that, I'm going to pause and let Carol just kind of introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her, just so we get a good understanding. So.
Yeah, Wayne, thank you very much. So I'm Carol Pragan, and I've actually been working with your leadership team for a few months now, helping devise some new training programs and those monthly meetings that you see. That's also my work, and just trying to help everybody kind of get a grasp on moving everyone forward in the organization in terms of education and training. My background is I've been in real estate for 20 plus years. I sold full time for almost half of that and worked as an assistant manager in a big branch office, and then as director of training and development for another firm. But for over a year now, I have been independent, sort of like you, out there getting my own business. And I'm really pleased that I've been able to work with some different brokerages around the country to help them with their training programs and to help educate and train their agents. And I also work for Calibri Group, which you probably know in Ohio as Hondros, and in other states under different names, but I work with them to help them recruit pre-licensed instructors to their Real Estate Express brand. So lots of irons in the fire, so to speak, but they all are around real estate education and training.
Awesome. So, so any one of us that are agents immediately go to, oh, Carol actually was an agent, or, probably still is. You're probably still licensed.
I am. I am still licensed.
Okay, so
yeah.
we can actually get, you understand the whole everything. So that's always a big piece of, and really it's why we either bring folks in to talk with us or work with folks, obviously is folks that understand us. So yes. I think that I am still licensed. I don't have a whole lot of time to sell, so basically anytime someone says, hey, can you help me, I refer them out, and that's really fair to the client too, because even though I'm licensed and I keep my feet wet in all of it, I am not showing buyers and doing listing presentations regularly now. So it makes a lot of sense. But I do like to keep my license active because A, it requires me to do continuing education. So even if I'm not teaching it, I've got to go attend something. And B, it keeps me involved in our realtor associations and just generally in the mix of things. So I enjoy it, and I feel that it brings a lot of value to what I do too. No, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So today, talking about standing out, Linda Wilson and I were chatting, and like every month we basically do these calls, and I could set up the whole year and go, hey, this is what we're talking about each month, but
Mm-hmm.
we prefer to actually do it sort of on the go. So a couple weeks prior to the date of the call, we kind of reach out to the office managers and Linda and everybody and say, hey, like, what's going on out there? What can we, help the agents with? What are you hearing they need? So that's kind of why we do this. And it always kind of seems like a couple weeks we're like, okay, let's pick a topic, but it's sort of on purpose. And it just kind of kept coming out like, almost everything we talk about. I don't care, we talk about getting listings or working with buyers. It always comes out that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of real estate agents, and there are hundreds getting licensed each month. Everybody just, everybody can just do it. Oh, I'll get licensed because I could sell one house. So, it sort of kept coming out is how can we, obviously get something to our agents to sort of help them stand out. In my thoughts is this is myself, this is personal, this is in my business, this is branding, this, so many different pieces. So,
Yeah.
so that's kind of the idea for the topic is to kind of just throw a bunch of stuff out there, and just give them some ideas and hopefully some interaction. So.
Yeah. Well, I instantly thought of three things. And so that's what I kind of shaped my comments today around are three particular areas. One of them is your market and understanding your market. Another one is strangely very simple, but asking questions. And then the third one is engaging consumers proactively. So because it's such a tight market right now with inventory, and there's probably buyers out there running around freaking out because you've written 15 offers for them or more, and they still haven't gotten a property. And then you're trying to find listings and everything. So there's a lot of stress right now. I think just generally in the world, there's a lot of stress, but especially in the real estate world. And the first thing I want to talk about is understanding your market. I think it's probably self-evident, but maybe you haven't taken a deep dive. And the second aspect of understanding your market is telling people that you understand your market. So first of all, you got to know the basics. And here I'm assuming too, and maybe this is incorrect, but if you want to focus on a market area, I really think that that's important. And it could be a zip code, it could be a neighborhood, it could be a general area, but focus in so that you really understand. And maybe you've got two or three of them that you really focus on. But just the basics: know the days on market, know the list to sale ratio. Yeah, that's how much of the purchase price are people getting? Oh, are they getting 105% right now? Well, what was it 12 months ago? Knowing that trend of where the market's going is also important. The number of properties on the market versus the number of properties sold. Things like price per square foot. We may not use it a lot, but consumers look at that as an indicator. So you too should know what's the price per square foot. What's happening in terms of the trends? Are they going up? Are they going down? How is that working? How much are prices rising? So what percentage point? And all of these kinds of statistics, quite honestly, you could probably get from your MLS. Maybe your board or association provides you with statistics on a monthly basis. I know I sit in Columbus. I'm a member of Columbus Realtors. They just came out with their statistics this month. And, they do it on a monthly basis, and then they put that out there to the general public. And most of the news organizations pick up on it, especially in a kind of hyper market that we're in with so few listings and prices going up so fast. So it's a news topic, So that's kind of the top of the trees, but you as the professional dig a little bit deeper in your micro market, if you will. How does that compare with the greater market? Some places may not be rising as fast, or maybe they're rising faster. Or if you're working in a certain price point, maybe that price point takes longer. The reason I say you need to know this stuff like the back of your hand is that if you get that call, hey, I'm thinking about selling, then you don't have to spend a lot of time doing that research. You can focus on their property and working with them and use that market information to inform how you counsel them regarding marketing their property and pricing it. It also works for buyers too. Somebody calls you up and says, yeah, I want to buy, but I hear it's really tough right now. And you talk to them, you say, well, where are you thinking? And now you got a better understanding, and you can then help them position themselves well when they actually do move into the market. So knowing those statistics, I think, is very, very important. Another place you can get them, my favorite tool, I will confess, is Realtors Property Resource. And in fact, with the way that it's set up now, you can put your market areas in your settings, and they will appear magically on your page, you know, a little map, and it'll give you all the current listings and the recent sales. And, you know, it really can be a big, big help when you want to get that overview. And then also when you want to dig deeper into the statistics. And then also you've got the ability in RPR to generate market activity reports and, you know, be able to show that and share that with people, which, by the way, is a great prospecting tool too. You know, hey, I've got this market activity report. Would you like to get it on a monthly basis? And they go, oh, here, yes, please give it to me. Oh, let me get your email address. You know, so it's a great prospecting tool too.
Yeah, so a couple things just before I forget or you know. So, well, first of all, the Realtors Property Resource, RPR. So in case some of you guys have not heard of that, we actually did a session, maybe it was last month or maybe the month before. So there is a recorded version of that on our YouTube page. And we're actually working potentially with Carol to, maybe it's next month we bring it back, or we do an extra session. We might be having Carol kind of show us a little bit deeper dive into RPR. So, but that is an unbelievable resource. So just to make sure you guys understand that. I love when you say proactive with buyers, and it really comes to mind, you know, two things sort of come to mind immediately. One of them is, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, everything I ever talk about always involves a CRM, and it's always, you know, and it's because if I hand you 5 buyers, you know, say nothing about 100 buyers or you know, some huge number, I could hand you 5, and I guarantee that you know, we will go like, oh, you're looking at homes, okay, I'm going to focus on you, and we're going to slowly just lose the 4. So, and that's just in every day in today's market, you know. You know, I have clients that are, you know, thank goodness you know, they let me know, but they're like, yeah, I just called the listing agent, you know, just to kind of get the details, because I know the market's crazy, you know, and then they call me and go, hey, can you show it to me? I'm like, you know, geez. So, you know, we have to believe. I know Ben was on, I think he hopped off, but Ben Neal, one of our Columbus agents, oh no, he's still on, you know, works with buyers a lot, and obviously I'm sure there are others, but you know, him and I chat a lot, you know, quite a bit, and you know, it's, you know, he's like, basically you're dropping things like, well, no, I'll show you that house at 3, but you know, if you're not proactive, like, believe me, those folks are, you know, and this is literally any client. This is a buyer, seller, you know, anybody that comes into your world, like, you want to sell them a house. But, you know, with today's market, if you're not reaching out to them, just staying in touch with them, just, you know, giving them reports or telling them what's on the market or understanding the market, you know, it'll be so easy for them just to, you know, just to slowly fall off into the, you know, and guess what? The fear, you know, we know it's going to happen is they're going to buy a house with someone else, you know, and not only did we not get paid, we actually lost money. So, you know, so that's one piece of it. And the second piece is, you know, I love if you know the market, if you do the deep dive, if you're proactive, you know, you almost have a calming effect on buyers. Yes, the market's crazy. Yes, you know, like, you know, and I know we all want to make a buck. So it's like, how high do you want to go? We're like, let's ditch the, you know, home inspection and let's just throw it to the, you know, but when we're knowledgeable, I mean, obviously if they need to buy, let's find something. But, you know, a lot of these folks just are like, yeah, we want to buy, but it's, you know, so, you know, us just saying like, let me, you know, I'm going to work with you guys. I know the market. I know, you know, what's happening. We'll find the right house. If this isn't it, we'll find the next one. So almost having that calming effect by being proactive and actually truly knowing the market and what this client's looking for and what this client is looking for. So that kind of stood
Yeah.
out when you were kind of talking about being proactive.
Yeah. And I think that adding into that, it's, you know, I talked a lot about knowing the statistics, but know the other things that are affecting the real estate in your area. You know, what builders are putting stuff up, because buyers are going to wander in there, whether or not they've even considered new build before. And they're also competition for listings. So, you know, if you've got a listing nearby and there's new builds, you know, they're going to attract some of the buyers maybe away from a listing. Who knows? But so builders are one thing you want to be aware of. And their plans to put out more subdivisions. So, you know, keeping on top of the news in that respect. What kind of businesses are going in and out of your area? You know, so does that mean that that's going to bring people in, or is it going to take people out? Recreation, you know, are they, what kind of plans are there to build parks or to, you know, make bike trails or whatever it might be? And then of course your schools, you know, you got to know where to go for the information about the schools. Remember, you're the source of the source. You are not the source.
Yes,
itself,
I do not recommend
right?
a school. Here's a website
Here's
that
where you can get the
yeah,
information.
yeah.
And don't forget, RPR has school information too, just FYI.
Yes. Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, it's funny because I have a client that I just got, actually an Op City lead. If you guys are not doing Op City, a $500,000 Op City lead, I'm like, whoa. But their main thing is they know all the school scores. Like, I don't want to live in a school district that's less than a 7 or 8. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, you guys did your homework. So, you know, so believe me, you know, I mean, all you're talking about is, we've always said, be the expert. You know, be the expert, but you're actually talking about be the expert on, like, on steroids, like be the expert. And it's not just going in the MLS and going, oh, gee, things are selling. You know, it's, you know, everything we've just talked about in the first, you know, 15 minutes or so really involves, like, be the expert. So that's, I love that. And I've always, you know, we've always talked about it, but, you know, sort of to stress it, and not just a few numbers. You know, let's take it to either have the resource or know the numbers and combine it, and then provide that to clients, and you know, then you really become the expert. So.
Yeah, and what you're doing in the process of that is demonstrating your value to the consumer. And I can't stress this enough with real estate agents. It's one of the things that really bugs me, is that many of you take yourselves for granted, and you're willing to, you know, negotiate your commission down at the drop of a hat. No, you've got value for the consumer. There's a reason why real estate agents have been around for a long time, you know, well over 100, I don't know how many years. But they're not going to take you seriously unless you demonstrate your value to them and you prove that you're worth what they're paying for you. And you can do it. You know, you've got the tools. And, you know, certainly, you know, let them know at every chance that you are the professional. You've got the information that they need to make good decisions. My very first manager had a framed saying on his wall. It was behind him, so I used to stare at it every time I go in there and talk with him. And it said, a salesperson's job is to help people make effective decisions. That's what you do. So you got to help them by giving them the information, and in that you are demonstrating your value to them, and they'll come back to you in the future as well. So I think that that's all wrapped up into one when I talk about understanding your market and telling people about it. So the second thing I want to talk to you about is questions. And this also seems kind of simple and probably kind of silly, and you're thinking, well, what it, you know, questions. Yeah, we all ask questions. Well, there are basically two types of questions, and you know this. One type is, those are the who, what, where, when, why, how much, and tell me about. Those kinds of questions get you information. Then the other type of questions are the ones that give you a decision. That's the do you, will you, You get a yes, no answer. Those are decision-making questions. And I want you to master asking questions, because the person who asks the questions is in control. And I'm not talking about a negative control here. I'm talking about positive control. You want to help somebody get that property or sell that house. You need to help them. You need to be the one who is guiding them and helping them to make those decisions. So you've got to ask the questions. So the first thing that you do is you uncover motivation when you ask them questions like, well, how soon do you want to move? Or why do you want to move? Or how many houses have you seen so far? They call you up and say, well, I want to move to this area. Well, how many houses have you seen so far? Well, I've been looking for about 3 months. Well, that could be a clue that either they're calling up listing agents to see houses, or they're working with somebody else, right? We need to know that kind of stuff. But one of my favorite questions, and it asks people to to tell you what their plans are. If you found a home today that you wanted to purchase, what would you do? Or on the other side, if they're a seller and you said, if somebody bought your home tomorrow, what would you do? Because that's going to tell you, am I a now prospect, or am I thinking it's going to happen 3 months down the road? Okay. So getting information.
And either way is fine. But
yeah, that's fine. But you know where they are in the process.
But understanding and getting them to understand and actually say it, like, they could be mentally thinking or making you feel like, I need to see that house. I need to see it today. You ask a few questions and you're like, okay, so we can go see it, but it's not like you're going to, sign the paperwork today or something. So just understanding that by asking questions.
Yep. So uncovering motivation and getting information. That's that who, what, where, when, why, how. It also helps you understand your client. And so one of the things that I like to ask sellers especially, but also buyers is, well, what's your biggest fear about this whole process? What's your biggest fear? Or what would you do if? Kind of get them in the hypothetical. Well, what would you do if you didn't get this house? Or what would you do if that contract fell apart? They'll probably think, oh, I'll be mad. Well, yeah, everybody's mad. But then you got to get them thinking beyond that. So getting to know them, understanding how they tick, and, is this somebody who's going to be a real analytical person, or are they going to be very emotional about everything? That information can help inform you about how you're going to work with them during this process. And then the other thing that you can do with questions that's very important is handle any stalls or objections people might have. So for example, they're saying, well, I don't know, we're probably not quite ready to get it on the market right now. We probably need about, I don't know, so we need some time to get it fixed up or cleaned up or repair this or do that. Well, okay, is there anything else preventing you from moving forward at this time? See, you're isolating it. You're figuring out, well, is this just something, the roadblock that they're putting up because they don't want to work with me? Or is it that they truly do need to fix that whatever or get that whatever in order before we move forward? Or, they're giving you a laundry list of things, the considerations, and you say, is there anything else I should know? Do we have it all laid out here on the table? Because I can't begin to handle an objection, a true objection, unless I know we've isolated it, okay? And there are true objections, they're out there. And sometimes it's, okay, let's move on. Other times it's, okay, well, let's look at this more in depth. Is there some way that we can deal with this now? So asking those questions, uncovers motivation, it gets you information, it helps you handle those objections and stalls, and in general, it keeps you in positive control of your relations with your clients and your customers. And that, as a real estate professional that you are, is going to serve you very well as you work with all different types of people.
Yeah. So, a couple of things with that is, you're, by asking those questions, obviously you're, kind of helping yourself, in one aspect, because you're like, okay, this one hammer down, this one I need to stay, focused on, but this is how I'm working them. But in reality, this all comes down to setting yourself apart in value propping, is because, we've all heard it. I've heard it, I have the conversation. This is my conversation with a buyer or seller, and no doubt I've heard, and we all have, is like, well, gee, the other agent just said, bam, bam, do this, and, and that's it. So, and you're actually, forcing me to think, or asking the questions, and they truly appreciate it. So when you, I mean, I know it's weird. We used to, say, hey, come in my office, love to come in my office. Let's chat before we go look at homes and have this conversation. We can still have this conversation, in person, Zoom, on the phone, but, or, just every time we see each other, like, ask questions, and they're going to be like, man, he's actually, he's not just like, let's look at a house and buy it, or let's list the house and sell it. He's going in depth with me and kind of helping me. And I truly believe that, this agent cares about me. So you're kind of doing a lot with that.
Yes, and I was going to point that out. You're also demonstrating that you care about them, because you're taking the time to find out what's most important to them and how you can best help them. And I wouldn't shy away from doing buyer counseling interviews, even if it's a hot market like this and they need to be out there looking at houses like yesterday. I would still do it, and I would do it remotely. I would do it via Zoom or Google Meet or whatever you like to use. And I would set aside, half hour, 45 minutes, maybe you've got an appointment to show them houses already. And you say, well, let's do this, let's do the evening before, let's meet on Zoom, for a half an hour, 45 minutes. I want to make sure that I understand everything about you, and I want you to feel comfortable working with me. And then you ask your questions. You talk with them about their wants and their needs, and making sure that you understand their time frame, all of those good things. You have your agency discussion with them. You can send them the consumer guide or whatever ahead of time to sign electronically. You get that all out of the way, so that now when you hit the road to go look at properties, you're focused on that, and you're not having to kind of pedal back all the time to ask something about whatever that you didn't know about. And then when you're preparing for a listing appointment, get on the phone and ask them questions before you go view that house, so that you have a good understanding of what we're looking at and how am I going to work with these people. I really think that there's a lot of power in this technique, but there's also a lot of, how should I put it? There can be a lot of fear on the point of the agent. Well, what am I going to ask them? Well, then write the stupid questions down, for heaven's sakes, and have them in front of you. There's no shame in that.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I would even show people my list of questions, and then I would just go down them and ask any further clarifying questions if I needed to. But there's no shame in having to write down what you want to ask people. So get over that. You don't have to remember everything.
Yeah,
I'm working off notes.
Yeah, and once you do it once, or even that first time, the first two questions, and then it's just, then you're just kind of following it, and they're getting into it, and so yeah, and it's I always hear it, and of course obviously in today's market, it's not normal, where you can say, oh, well, let's step back, because you don't have time to step back. So I get it. No. We're also doing, if we do it now and start standing out, well, guess what? The market's, going to correct, this year, next, it will go back to normal. We will have 8,000 agents, and you have the chance to be like, I'm good. I still do my thing. I got a bunch, I'm showing my value. So, I'm still collecting everybody, even though, things aren't, going off the market in an hour type thing. So we're setting this up for being in business next year and 5 years from now and things like that.
Yeah, that's an important point, Wayne. I think that, the market will change. That's inevitable, right? That's what happens. But you want to have systems and processes in place and have a regular, routine, if you will. This is how I work, because that's going to serve you in any market. You're going to basically recession-proof yourself by doing these sorts of things now. I don't know. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know when it's going to happen, but I can tell you there will be a slowdown in the future. It'll happen, and we may have to deal with short sales again. Heaven forbid, but they'll probably show up in larger numbers somewhere down the road. But when you have a routine and you follow it, it's going to work no matter what the market is.
Yep, I agree totally, and I mean, not to scare everyone, like it,
No,
we're literally just talking like,
don't be scared.
There will be, there wasn't, they weren't flying off the market, a year to 18 months ago, and then there will be a time where, that we're not, but again, talking about these things and doing kind of, learning and getting better and tweaking systems and things, how you work, all that, like you said, will serve. Down the road, and whatever happens, you're like, I'm good because I still do what I do, and in the way I do it, folks, come to me, or I'm able to get folks and keep them, that type of thing. Right.
And you will create referrals too, because when you, when you work well with people, they will refer you. And that's what you want. You want that referral-based business. It's a lot easier than having to go out and prospect for new clients off the street.
I love that thought too. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, then the other thing asking questions, understanding your market. The third thing I wanted to bring up today, and this is somewhat of my pet peeve. You need to engage consumers regularly, right? So there are a variety of methods that we have to reach out and talk to people in one way or another. Could be through your CRM. It could be, you're sending out emails, whatever. I want to talk about social media for just a few minutes.
Sure.
So the really cool thing about social media is that you have the ability to demonstrate that you are a great real estate professional to people before they ever need you. But if you're not, how shall I say this? If you're kind of doing it slipshod, or maybe you haven't been in there and updated your profile in 6 or 12 months, that's also projecting an image to people, because I got to tell you, they're going in there, they're typing your name into that search engine, and they're finding out, what comes up. And, oh, there's a LinkedIn profile. Let me go look at that. And it's like crickets in there, and they're not seeing anything, and they get kind of frustrated, and they think, well, why are you even on here, right? People use social media to find out about all kinds of professionals, and real estate agents included. So now let's engage them. Let's be present for them before they ever need you. All right. So I recommend that you use only 1 or 2 channels and use them well. So you don't need to be on, Facebook page, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter. No, you don't need to be on all of those. If all you want to do is a Facebook business page, then do it, and do it well. If all you want to do is Instagram, do it, and do it well, because you will serve yourself better than just being kind of all over the place. So you need to post consistently. You need to have a variety of real estate related topics, not just, here's my new listing. I just sold this house. I'm so busy. Those are great kinds of posts because they show results, but you need to show people other things too, like what's going on in their market. Or, oh, here's a home remodeling tip I think you'll like. Or, oh gosh, you know, we just found out that there's going to be a new rec center built over there. Isn't that great? Those kinds of things will engage people. And then you need to respond to comments if people make them or if they ask questions. So you have to be present. And that's why if you're going to do it well, you can't be all over the place, because suddenly you're managing a social media campaign and not being a real estate agent, right? And that's not good either. So you got to remember that you're a real estate agent first. And if you're just using social media as a way to engage people and build relationships with them. Now, one thing that you can do, even if you don't want to get heavy in the weeds on social media, this will really help you out. And I'm talking here from experience. Update your profiles. Do it on a regular basis. And I'm not talking just about social media. I mean, yes, update them there, but things like realtor.com or Zillow, if you've ever created an account on Zillow, go in there and make sure that your profile is complete. I told you at the beginning that I recruit instructors for Real Estate Express. Well, fancy this. I'm looking for people and I'm pulling up their realtor.com profile and there's nothing there that tells me anything about them, much less a picture. So, you know, just do it. People can search for you on these platforms and find you. But if there's nothing there to tell them about you or how to get a hold of you, they'll pass you over and go to the next person. So make sure that you've got a recent headshot, that you've got up-to-date contact information. You know, how do you want them to contact you? Include your website address, folks. Drive people to your website whenever possible. That should be the hub where you push people to all the time. Your bio. Now, I am in the favor of doing create it once and be done with it, and certainly update it as necessary, but open up a word processing blank document, type up your bio, refine it, edit it, give it to somebody to look at to see if it sounds good. Only needs to be about a paragraph, and then copy and paste everywhere you need it. It will actually help you if you have the same information on multiple platforms. Why, Carol? Well, it has to do with search engine optimization. That's the same keywords coming up associated with you. So copy, paste, do it once, and then the same thing if you need to update it, you just go into the Word document, update it, then copy, paste, copy, paste. But be sure that you've got a call to action in there somewhere, usually at the end. You know, contact me for whatever, or see more at with your website address. That's a call to action, and put that in that profile bio, wherever it may be. If it's on LinkedIn or if it's on Facebook, whatever. Now, if you're using Instagram for your business, Instagram won't let you put a link to something in a post. So you've got to have that website address in your bio. So you got to make sure it's in your bio. Same thing on, well, Twitter will let you put a link, but you should have your website address in your bio there as well. And then both Twitter and Instagram, you get limited number of characters. So you got to be really careful with that. You only get so much space to tell how wonderful you are. And then as a bonus, I think that anytime you can use video online, it's a good thing. If you want to record a quick 1-minute introductory video. Hi, I'm Carol Pregan. I do blah, 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 whatever. Your phone is a wonderful video camera, folks. You don't need to have anything else. You can use your phone, make sure either somebody's holding it for you or that you've got it propped up, or use a tripod so that it's not shaking. You know, don't do the selfie video kind of thing. make it look decent, but you know, it doesn't need to be long, but people will watch video. They will, more so than read something. And then here's another tip. If you don't want to type something up, you can use a website called otter.ai, OTTER.ai, and you can speak and it will transcribe for you. It will also take video and transcribe it, but you can just speak, you know, open up the website. You might have to create your account, but you can, you know, click on a button and speak what you want to say, and it will write it up, and you can download it, and you can do whatever you need to with it. So if you're not into typing something up, but you can say it, that's a great way to get your information out there. So yeah, you know, just make sure that if you're doing a video or if you're creating that bio, that you tell people who you are, what you do, if you have any areas of specialization, you know, what area that you use, and then always include that call to action at the end, and then stick it wherever you can. But having those updated profiles, you know, using some kind of social media channel to engage with people is a great way to demonstrate that you're a professional and also build relationships that could turn into clients.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. So, so we have been doing a lot with Jen, our marketing person, you know, kind of
Yes.
leading towards that. So that it's great.
Yes.
You know, it's great to do. But, you know, I mean, I'll stress again, you know, NAR says that, you know, 70 to 72% of folks will Google us, even if it's a referral. So, you know, and I'm sure it's higher with the non-referrals. Like, so like, hey, use Wayne as an agent. You know, someone's going to be like, okay, Wayne, you know, go to Wayne Weaver Realtor or whatever to, you know, to figure this out. So, and then like, you know, to your point, like, you know, your website will come up and then you know, Zillow and, you know, wherever, like they're going to be clicking on things. So, you know, you don't have to, you know, pay for leads on Zillow. You don't have to pay for leads on Realtor. You can have an account. Just make your pictures there, your bios there, about you, your website, you know, get reviews if you want to. But, you know, the fact is just having profiles. So, you know, it's not you know, blank and like, you know, no pitch. We talk a lot about, you know, going to a profile, there's like not even a picture, like the gray outline. And you're an agent, you want me to help, you know, work with you, and like you can't even put a picture on a, you know, on a platform that is, you know, that involves real estate or whatever. So, you know, so I love that. You know, I love that.
It's pretty interesting when they've got the gray avatar there and go, you look like a great person. I mean, people relate to people. So, you know, the more that they have to look at, the more likely it is that they will engage with you in some level. But I'm glad you brought up what Jen is doing, because every month they've got stuff that you can use to post, you know, whether it be video or they've got some graphics. Those are all wonderful things that you don't have to go do yourself.
Yeah.
Another thing that I love this tool, it's free to you because you're a realtor, and it's called the Realtor Content Resource. It's actually the back door into the House Logic website, which is run by NAR. If you go to members.houselogic.com and you sign in with your NRDS number and your last name, you will have access to hundreds of articles about anything to do with home ownership, buying a home, renovating, remodeling, maintaining, you name it, financing, all kinds of stuff that you can share on social media. And you can even create handouts with them too if you want to. So members.houselogic.com. It's a great resource. And then, of course, you know, ERA has the social tool also, if you wanted to engage with that. There are all kinds of resources out there so that you don't have to spend a lot of time on that social media piece. I know that a lot of realtors think it's a time sink. I could be out there working with somebody. Well, yeah, you could. With a little bit of planning and maybe an hour a week, you can get stuff set up for the next week. And just Facebook will let you, and Instagram, if you have an Instagram business account, if you have a Facebook business page, you can schedule your posts out. Okay.
So,
you don't have to be on top of it posting at a certain time.
yeah. So grab some stuff from the ERA, from Jen's stuff, from the, from the NAR House Logic stuff, and build it. And, I mean, the biggest issue that agents have throughout the year is like they get, we all get busy. Like, man, I'm busy,
Yep.
busy. And if I stop prospecting, guess what? I'm going to be busy, and then I'm going to go,
where is everybody?
All right, let me start this up. And obviously, and it happens to everyone. And hopefully, it happened to me once. I was like, well, I don't want that to happen again. So, it's all the tools that we have. It's making things easier. Yeah, I do not want to log into Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all these things like every day and spend 50, but
Yep.
if I do it, that's like, I sit back and go, my CRM's doing some work for me. I have to do some work. Facebook business page is posting for me. That's prospecting. That's doing, doing jobs for you without you, but yeah, take the hour to do it or whatever, get used to it. And then, it's probably going to be less than that as you get familiar with things, but it is important. It's important to, to do it and be regular.
So a question for Melissa, what do you use to schedule your post? Well, if I'm on my Facebook business page, there's a scheduling function in the publishing tools. So you're not going to create the post in your news feed. You're going to go to publishing tools and then use the schedule post function there. Now unfortunately, LinkedIn and Twitter, for example, they don't give you the ability to schedule your posts. So if you want to do scheduling there, then you need to engage with a third-party social aggregator site, such as Hootsuite or TweetDeck. That is entirely up to you. That's a business decision if you want to do that. But yeah, in Facebook business page and Instagram business account. So if you just set up a normal Instagram and then you're thinking, oh, I should be using this for business, go into your profile, and down at the bottom of the profile, it says switch to business or something like that. And then you can change it over and make it a business account. Why is that important? Well, then it gives you the scheduling function. And secondly, it also gives you the ability to advertise, like you can advertise on Facebook. So if you're into that and you want to do it on Instagram, that's how you have to run it. Rachel says, I just started using Buffer. It's free and you can hook up to 3 accounts. Thank you. Good. Yes, Buffer. I did know that. And then, of course, yes, Dan, there's the social tool and leverage. And that, I believe, lets you schedule as well.
Yeah. So multiple, multiple places that we can. Yeah, Buffer has been one that came up with Jen, and obviously it's free. I think you link up through. So there's options to to sort of and then social tool, of course, we leverage. So another free tool. So not needing to pay, but get in there. Let's figure it out. Get it set up. Grab some posts, and then just again, just sit back. Like, you can post on the Facebook or any of those as you get a listing or something. Like that's actually but schedule the when you were talking about earlier, schedule the
regular things.
the here's a little house tip, and here's a little something on the market and things like that. Schedule those, and then just add to it with some personal posts throughout the week or month or whatever. So
right. I mean, there's a lot more that you can do with social media, but I think that the key thing is to use it as a way to engage people and build those relationships before they even know that they need you. It used to be way back in the olden days that it was all dependent on us sending postcards into a neighborhood, lots of snail mail and bulk mail. And, that's fine, but I never knew how many people actually looked at that postcard that I sent, right? Well, now I can go in my analytics on my Facebook page or on LinkedIn or what. I can see how many people actually looked at that stupid post,
Yeah.
you know, and I can tell how long they watched that video. So that's really where it becomes interesting for you as an agent. You can actually see what kind of, even if they're not liking it, you can see what kind of engagement that you've had, and you can gauge what people like to look at.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So we're within 10 minutes here. I'm gonna just pause here and let anyone, obviously you guys have been throwing things in chat. You can do that by, anyone want to unmute themselves. I just have a couple things I want to chat about, but anyone want to unmute themselves, ask a question, any thoughts, please do. I'll pause for a second and let you guys.
Yeah, I'd love to hear any questions.
Hi, it's Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Wayne.
Hi.
Hi, Carol. Thank you for this great session. When earlier today you mentioned showing our value, which I agree is extremely important. And I also agree with having a buyer consultation is super important. And I think even more now, as we have all these new agents entering the market, we already have 8,000 plus. A lot of people are willing to take a listing and cut the buyer agent's commission. So I think we need to have that conversation. I'd be interested in your technique of how you approach your buyers with the potential they might have to bump up and pay me that, if it's 2.5%.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think that's a really, really important conversation to have at that buyer consultation. I'm glad you brought that up, Lisa. So in the process of finding out all about them, their wants, their needs, their motivations, all that kind of stuff, I then kind of switch gears and I say, I'd like to tell you how I work with buyers. My goal is to help you get what you want, and that's why I asked you a lot of questions so that I understand where you're coming from and I can best help you achieve what you want to achieve. But I need to tell you how I get paid. So contrary to perhaps what you're thinking, I don't get a paycheck every couple of weeks or once a month. I only get paid when I sell a house. And typically the seller pays the buyer broker part of the commission. And when I go and I'm looking at properties for you and helping you out, I'm seeing what they're offering for buyer broker commission. But you're going to buy what you want regardless of what the seller offers. So my pledge to you is I'm going to show you everything on the market that meets your specifications. But it could be that the seller has decided not to offer my standard commission, which, by the way, is 3%. That's what I charge for buyers. So if the seller doesn't offer that full 3%, I would like us to have an agreement. And this is when I present them with the buyer agency agreement. I would like us to have this agreement that says that if the seller does not pay my full commission, that you as a buyer agree to make up any deficit and that you're going to work with me for a certain period of time. And that, of course, I am going to do whatever I can to get you what you want in that period of time. And this money is not due to me up front. It's only due to me and my brokerage when we come to the closing table. So you're not paying anything up front for my services. It's only paid at the time of closing. And any amount that you would pay toward the buyer broker commission would be added into your closing costs at that time. Does that make sense?
That was excellent. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Talking about a tough conversation, but
Yeah.
do you want to have that conversation, or do you want to only get paid 1%? And then split all that. So it's like, it just makes sense to, and believe me, that conversation gets easier. You get it down,
the more
you're
you do
showing
it.
value, just have it. You're going to be, of course you're going to get, a rejection, like what, but then, somebody else is going to go, well, you're working your butt off for us. So, or will, so let's do it.
Yeah.
But, and it might not even come into play. Hopefully it doesn't, hopefully the seller pays it, but you want to get paid if, for all the work you've been doing.
Yeah. So a question in the chat was from John is, have you guys found buyer side commissions being reduced due to the demand? I have seen it happening here, there. It's not like it's a stampede or anything, but, we have had situations for many years with, certain brokerages deciding that they don't want to offer much or, a certain percentage for their buyer broker commission. And that's certainly their prerogative, so it's not like this is a brand new issue. I think though, as real estate agents representing buyers, we've done a pretty poor job of explaining to people. I mean, and please never say to a buyer, I'm free. I work for you for free. No. It's not how it works. The seller's going to pay that buyer broker commission, if that's part of their listing agreement, right? And so, there are all those lawsuits out there too. You've probably heard it in the news, saying that this is an antitrust violation because we've all somehow gone in cahoots by saying that everybody has to offer this buyer broker commission when we know that not every brokerage does. But still, it's a touchy subject right now. Just don't say that you work for free, for crying out loud. You do get commission. They may not be paying it out of their pocket, but it is part of the commission that is paid at the sale of that property.
Yeah, and Carol mentioned it early on, maybe when we were first starting, that like you guys are worth something. You're worth what you do. You're worth the 3%. You're worth 5%. I mean, so don't discount. Just if you need help with that conversation for the buyer and having that, or if you need help, with the value prop piece of showing that, no, I don't reduce commission. I have, but I will always do it, at the bargaining table when we are, $2,000 apart or something, like, okay, all 4 of us give up 500, I mean, you do it then, but I will never do it up front, because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how long I'm going to have this listing. I don't know how many homes I'm going to show this buyer, so just realize, I mean, I know you can list a house, sell in a day and get 3%. And it could be a lot of money. And it seems like, I really didn't do much for that one, but you know what, the next one, guess what? You're going to have a listing for 4 months and have 50 showings, and it's not going to, so you got, we're worth it. Everything we do, everything we've talked about today shows that anybody you say, you have that conversation, like, this is what I do, this is how I work, and this is how I'm going to stay in touch with you, and the communication, and there shouldn't be anybody. Of course, there will be folks that go, still not worth it. But there shouldn't be anybody that truly thinks that you're not worth at least the 3%, or whatever the commission is at the point. So just kind of realize that, and it's not always an easy conversation, but practice it. Practice the objection. That's maybe a call we should have, is some role playing to to do the objection piece, but. I'm telling you, you do it once, you do it twice or whatever. It gets pretty easy to go, nope, this is how I work. This is everything I do. How it works. That's why I get 3%. And by the way, I don't even get all 3%. So I share that with folks and share it with the pay taxes, all that stuff. So.
Right, and they need to understand that as well. Now, this is especially a conversation at the listing table because there's always I shouldn't say always. There may be an objection about your commission at the listing appointment. Well, I don't want to pay that much. Now, I will tell you that if you have done a good job, it's in your listing presentation demonstrating your value. When you get to that, here's all the fees, everything that's associated with selling your house. Maybe you're showing them a estimated proceeds or whatever. You can take away that commission objection right away by having demonstrated to them all of those things that you're going to do for them and how you're going to work with them. So I think right now there's a lot of pressure on commissions because things are selling so fast, and they think, well, you don't have to do all that marketing and everything, so why should I pay you that full commission? But I think that ultimately you need to help them understand that even if they're paying X percent, you're not walking away with all of it. Yeah, you've got to pay the IRS, you've split it with your broker, you've got to pay for your marketing, whatever marketing you did, and then here I used to take dollar bills. This was my favorite thing to do. I was a 7% listing agent, folks. It can be done. I took $7 bills out when they started hassling me about this. I said, okay, so these $7 bills represent the commission. And okay, here's 3 that goes to the buyer broker right away. And then, okay, I've got to share this with my broker, right? Because I don't get all of it. So then I would take one and I would rip one of them. They really freak out when you start ripping money. And then I would say, okay, and I've got to pay this much in taxes, and I'd rip some more. Oh, and then there's the marketing that I'm going to do. Oh, and I would end up with $1 bill or less, depending on the situation. And I say, and you want me to reduce my commission? That's my, and then so that would really freak them out. But the point I'm trying to make is that people think that 1% of commission is, that's just nothing. It's nothing. But it represents 17% of your income, folks. All right. So if they want a win, if you're at an impasse and they're just pounding away at you, don't go a full percentage point. Go a quarter or a half. A little win might be enough to get them off of your back, but you're not giving up as much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. It's so easy to just go 6 to 5. Like, no,
Boom,
like do,
done.
do 5.5, or do, depending on the value of the house, pick a number like, okay, I'll knock off $500, which ends up being, like 1/3 of a percent or something, whatever it is,
Right.
like you kind of know.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
and just thinking the whole time, like you're basically saying, this is all I do, and my job is to get you the most for the house. So I've been always a fan of like, well, if I'm cutting my commission now, like, how is that going to represent me when I'm trying to get you the most for the house? What if I just stopped and went, they'll take it. I'm not going to try to get any more because I just cut things. I just, don't, so there's a lot to be said for, showing that value, and then, getting them what they need, like, here's the, if you got this number, you would be happy, right? Well, let's get the number, and then, then you kind of work from there.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, it's a matter of, you get what you want. Why are we even having this discussion right now? You're not going to pay me until we go to a closing table. And if I can negotiate on your behalf to get you what you need out of this sale, what does it matter? I get paid,
Yeah, I agree. Wow, this has been totally cool, totally fun. I swear I could sit here another hour or more just chatting, but I'm going to just pause. We will, we'll hop off if you guys are done, but I'm going to pause and just see anybody else have anything they want to, just sort of add or chat about. Cool. No, appreciate that, Melissa. So thank you guys so much for joining today. This is recorded, so we will send it out probably later this afternoon or tomorrow. So thank you guys for joining. And Carol, thank you so much. It was awesome. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was my pleasure.
All right, you guys have a great afternoon, guys.